there she is, Carthage. You know, if the Mediterranean had a rich, arrogant neighbor that everyone secretly hated but couldn't stop talking about, this was it. As we're rounding the Cape, imagine hundreds of merchant ships packed with silver, gold, ivory, spices, wine, and enough olive oil to make an Italian grandmother cry tears of joy. This place wasn't just wealthy, it was filthy rich. Rome looked across with envious eyes and basically said, yeah, we're going to have to take all that shit. The Carthaginians were incredible sailors. They built one of the most powerful navies the ancient world had ever seen. They crossed the Mediterranean like it was their backyard, while the Romans were still trying to figure out which end of the ship was supposed to face forward. And then there was Hannibal. The man looked at the map, saw the Alps, and thought, you know what would really confuse the shit out of the Romans? Elephants. Elephants? Elephants. That's not just military planning. That's the ancient equivalent of showing up to a neighborhood barbecue in a tank. Of course, Rome eventually got the last laugh. After 3 Punic Wars, they completely destroyed Carthage. Carthago delenda est. That's not just winning, that's the ancient version of deleting someone's save file, throwing away the console, and then paying over the house. You could say they were probably a little salty about it. Today, cruise ships glide into these waters carrying tourist arms with selfie sticks and unlimited drink packages, but 2,000 years ago, seeing a fleet on the horizon usually meant one of 3 things. You were about to make a fortune, lose a fortune, or maybe become part of my history documentary. Thankfully, I think we're here for the first option. Let's go explore the city that scared Rome so badly they spent more than a century trying to erase it from history.
Right now was sailing into the Bay of Tunis following almost the same waters as the Roman warships entered 2,100 years ago or so during the Third Punic War. Off in the distance is Birsa Hill, the ancient heart of Carthage. You can see the Al-Abidin Mosque, the former Cathedral of San Louis, on its summit, but beneath them lie the remains of really one of the greatest cities in the ancient world. This was the capital of the Carthaginian Empire, home to Hannibal Barca, Rome's greatest enemy. And in 149 BC, the Roman fleets arrive in this very bay to begin the siege that would last roughly 3 years. In 146 BC, after 6 days of brutal street fighting, the last defenders made their final stand on Birsa Hill before Carthage fell to Scipio Aemilianus. Most of the ruins that we're going to see today are mostly Roman, because after destroying Carthage, Rome eventually rebuilt it to be one of the greatest cities in the empire. But beneath those Roman streets, the monuments rest of the Punic city that was really once challenged Rome to be the masters of the Mediterranean. These were the 2 superpowers of Europe, if not the world at the time. So we're sailing into the port of Galette. It's just really remarkable for me to realize that this coastline, has changed so little since antiquity. And looking across the bay, I'm seeing the same landscape that those Roman sailors, the Carthaginian merchants, and even Hannibal Barca himself would have recognized over 2,000 years ago. History, in this place, it feels really close. There's not really a lot of places, well, I don't know if that's true, but this is one of the places in the Mediterranean that offer a really direct connection to one of the defining conflicts of the ancient world.
All right, quick disclaimer before I get into this. We were here as part of a guided tour, and I didn't want to be the guy talking over the guide while everyone was actually trying to learn something. So if you notice I'm a little quieter in the later clips, or if the narration sounds like it was recorded later, that's because it was. I wanted everyone else to enjoy the tour without hearing my attempt at becoming the History Channel. Now, welcome to the Tophet of Carthage. If you've never heard of it before, don't worry, most people haven't. And honestly, once you learn what historians think may have happened here, you might wish you still hadn't. The peaceful little grove was once one of the most sacred places in ancient Carthage. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of urns containing the cremated remains of infants and young children, along with stone monuments dedicated to the gods Baal-Hamon and Tanit. Now here's where things get somewhat controversial, maybe a little more than somewhat. Ancient Greek and Roman writers claim the Carthaginians actually sacrificed children to Baal, especially during times of war or national crisis. If that's true, this wasn't just a cemetery, it was a site of one of the darkest religious rituals in the ancient world. But, and this is important, not everyone agrees. Many modern archaeologists argue this was simply a special cemetery for infants who died naturally, and the Romans may have exaggerated or even invented the stories to make the greatest enemy look like, monsters. Others believe the archaeological evidence and ancient accounts point to ritual sacrifice occurring here. So what's the truth? Honestly, nobody knows for certain, and if archaeologists who spent their entire career studying the place are still arguing about it, I'm probably not going to solve it in the next couple minutes here on YouTube. What I can tell you is that standing here feels different. It's quiet, it's peaceful, it's hot as hell, and then you remember what may have happened in this place over 2,000 years ago, and suddenly it doesn't feel so quiet and peaceful anymore.
In spiritu, requies eterna in silenzio.
والله هكاكا ها؟ احلف والله ودانا
This is all incredibly interesting to me. So we're on a tour, a group tour, so I'm trying not to disturb anybody while I'm making my video. But I thought it's so rare that people from back home get to come here that I should just go ahead and record anyway. Anyway.
Once again, I gotta apologize for the camera angles. This was my first real attempt at filming for YouTube, and we can just say that, I was still trying to figure it out, while also not trying to get in the way of anybody. So apologies if maybe you're just seeing my shirt or right up my nose, and luckily we had just left Turkey on this cruise, and a nice Turkish man used hot wax to rip all the nose hair out, so at least there's that going for me. But yeah, here we go.
Storie pondus oculi clausi in vultu balis lux moritur in sinu maris
right next to the Tophet was an active archaeological dig. One of the archaeologists came over and started showing me videos on his phone, mostly inappropriate nudes, but in between those there were some pictures of the Phoenician artifacts that he had found that, some of them are 2,800 years old. So that was really neat. Here's a picture of me and him together. We're going to go to the Ancient Harbor next. You'll hear me pick it up live in 3, 2, 1.
This is what's left of the harbor. It's hard to imagine now, but the shape is still here. I've only seen it from the distance in the past. But this is where those ships sailed out of. In the center there, the part you're looking at, is where the naval commanders were based. And it's honestly quite moving to be here. I don't know what to say. This is a place I've always read about. I've seen it from the top of the Birsa Hill, which is over there towards the left before, and now I'm actually standing here. So I'm kind of at a loss of words, to be honest. It may just look like a little pond or something to you, but to me this is where some of the most important history in Western civilization happened.
So as impressive as the harbors were, our next stop is what most people picture when they hear the name Carthage. Sitting on the edge of the Mediterranean, the Antonine Baths are some of the most recognizable Roman ruins in North Africa. So let's go take a look. So, if you're traveling with me, you should probably know by now that I have a bit of an unhealthy fascination with old dead people. Roman ruins? Love them. Byzantine churches? Oh, hell yeah. A 2,500-year-old cemetery? Well, of course I'm going to stop here. This is the Punic Necropolis, the ancient burial ground of Carthage. Long before Rome covered the city with grand bathhouses, like San Francisco, and forums, generations of Carthaginians were laid to rest here, overlooking the Mediterranean. One thing I always find fascinating about places like this is that not everyone buried here was a famous general or a wealthy merchant. Most were just ordinary people. They woke up, they went to work, worried about their families, complained about the weather, probably argued with their spouses, and 2,500 years ago, here we are walking through what's left of their world. History has a funny way of making us think that the past was filled only with kings, emperors, and great battles. But civilizations weren't built by Hannibal. They were built by thousands of regular people whose names we'll never know. It's also strangely peaceful here. I don't know if it's the sea breeze, the old tombstones, or the fact that nobody's trying to sell me any refrigerator magnets or rip me off quite yet. Standing here really puts time into perspective. These people were buried centuries before Caesar, before Augustus, before Christianity, before the Roman Empire reached its height. They lived in one of the richest cities in the Mediterranean, and they had no idea their home would one day become Rome's greatest enemy.
Silent you in Plate's ferrace, in Plate's ferrace. Evum sta mundo speri in tenebris saxum acclamat.
We're now walking down Cardo 16, one of the main streets of Roman Carthage. Nearly 2,000 years ago, this road would have been packed with merchants, politicians, and ordinary Romans making their way through the city. Today, it's mostly tourists with cameras and one very, very sweaty American trying not to trip over ancient paving stones.
Memoria in fumo perì, in fumo perì, memoria in fumo perì.
Okay, we'll go back to some of the live footage. You'll see the guide's about to catch up to me. I did my best to stay ahead of him and not distract anybody, but we'll see that clip here in 3, 2, 1. So I'm really trying to stay ahead of the guide to not bother anybody. But we're getting up onto the main part of the Antonine Baths, which is typically what you see when you get here to Carthage. This is a pretty spectacular view, to be honest. The guy caught up to me.
How are you doing?
Hey, everybody.
He's the best ever. He's the best ever, believe me.
I'm doing my best. I'm trying to.
You are the best.
Trying to stay about 10 meters ahead. Well, here it is, the Antonine Baths. This is the reason most people come to Carthage, and honestly, I can't blame them. It's a pretty incredible sight. The funny thing is, these baths weren't built by the Carthaginians, they were built by the Romans. You know, the same Romans who spent over 100 years trying to destroy Carthage. Apparently, after burning the city to the ground, they looked around and said, you know what? Let's make a really nice spa. Construction began under Emperor Antoninus Pius in the 2nd century AD, and these became some of the largest baths in the entire Roman Empire. And before anyone thinks that this was just one giant swimming pool, that's not how Roman baths worked. This was basically the Roman version of a country club. You came here to work out, catch up with friends, talk politics, take a poop next to your best friend, make business deals, and if there was a time left over, maybe even take a bath. The Romans even had central heating. Underneath the floors, furnaces pumped hot air through hollow spaces beneath the rooms in a system called a hypocaust. Meanwhile, I still can't get my thermostat to stay connected to my Wi-Fi. At their peak, these columns would have towered nearly 6 feet above the visitors, covered in marble imported from across the empire. Everything about this place was designed to say one thing: Rome won. Today, all that's left are the foundations, but standing here with the Mediterranean stretching out behind them, it's really not hard to imagine how spectacular this place must have been 2,000 years ago. So this is actually the underground layer. The baths would have been on top of there. So this is where the actual heating for the baths were, under these arches. Which is quite interesting also. So you have to kind of use your imagination, like a lot of these places, to understand what you're looking at. And there's a stray dog. Let's hope he doesn't have rabies.
Sorry, I was listening.
Yeah, I'm just narrating this video. Yeah.
Where's the stray dog?
He's down there somewhere. I just saw him running around. There he is, look. Original Carthaginian dog. Oh, there she is.
She
She's had quite a few babies. So her babies could be around here somewhere too. So ironically, I'm wearing my Julius Caesar shirt today, and today is July the 13th, 2026. So that would make today Julius Caesar's 2125th birthday. I think that's kind of cool that I'm here at Carthage on Julius Caesar's 2125th birthday. So Julius Caesar had planned to rebuild Carthage after it was destroyed. He saw the potential in this place. However, unfortunately, his life was cut a little bit short. However, under Augustus was when they rebuilt this place. So everything you're seeing now, well, no, I can't say that. The beginning of everything you saw was built under Augustus. But yeah, that's just another cool tidbit. God. I don't know how I did 2 years in Iraq sometimes, because I'm just not used to this heat anymore. We're listening to a tour of part of the tour of the toilets, the latrines here in Carthage. So this is where people used to take their ancient shits. So everybody's taking a break to allow them to buy some drinks at the local shop, the little cafeteria. The price is, of course, extortionate. So we're talking about, for a small can of soda, about $2. So for Tunisia, that's absolutely outrageous. Of course, it's a captive audience, and of course, you know, they make time to have a break to go to the cafeteria. It's kind of honestly draining. All these places like this, Egypt, they're just trying to, death by a million paper cuts. Yeah, I know, I understand $2 is not a lot of money, but it just gets old. Like, we're gonna have to end up going to a carpet shop or some other fucking cafe or some bullshit like that later. Mosaics or something like that. They're gonna give us this whole thing, how the stuff's not made in China and it's handmade. It's all bullshit. Don't fall for any of that. It's all bullshit. It gets old. But that's just kind of the thing. If you're a European or somebody from Australia, the US, or Canada, you're just gonna have like a big target on yourself as big dollar signs or euro symbols or pound symbols, whatever you want to call it. They're gonna try to rip you off. It's just part of the game. Some people say, you know, oh, that's part of the fun, is the bargaining. It's not fun. It's annoying. So, I don't know. To each their own. Maybe you like it. I don't like it. To me, it gets old. I don't like somebody telling me I'm stupid to my face, trying to rip me off. Maybe other people feel different, think it's charming. I don't know.
So honestly, it was worse than I thought. The tourist shop they took us to was absolutely outrageous. I speak some Arabic, and I was floored when the guy asked me what I wanted, and I looked at this coaster, and it wasn't hand painted or anything like that. It was obvious it was made in China, and I was like, well, how much? And he said, 40. And I was like, certainly he doesn't speak English that well. I said, arba'in, and he said, yeah, arba'in. And I was, okay. So yeah, teach their own. Be careful out there, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you didn't enjoy this video, I don't really care, but if you did, go ahead and give me a like. I would really appreciate it. Maybe even subscribe. I'm going to hopefully get better and better at this and keep producing more videos for you guys out there. So until next time, this is Valentinos, and I'll catch you guys next time.